My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Welcome back, folks. One of the biggest challenges people have in real estate and real estate investing, especially with long-term buy and hold properties, is property management. Whether you got a single family home that you're renting out or you've got hundreds of units in a multifamily property, property management, tenant management is a really big deal. And today's guest, zooming in from beautiful Los Angeles, knows all about that because Anthony Luna and Coastline Equity, that's what they do. They are property managers. They are third-party property managers, which means they manage properties for investors like you and I. In fact, Anthony's just written a book all about it. So Anthony Luna, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right. So we're in the middle of 2025, getting towards the end of 2025 as this episode probably comes out. Tell us a little bit about Coastline Equity. What do you guys do? What does the business look like right now?
Yeah, so we help investors, much like yourself and your listeners, who are either acquiring or have acquired multifamily properties or commercial properties across Southern California. And we help them work on value add reconstruction, redevelopment plans, and long-term property management services.
So primarily, specifically in Southern California, is that correct?
Today, only in Southern California. So LA
Okay.
County, Orange County, Riverside, Southwest Riverside, Temecula, most predominantly, and all the way down to San Diego.
Okay, very good. Very, very good to know that. So, Anthony, roughly how many units do you have under management right now, buildings, however you guys count them?
So we're a blend of commercial and multifamily. So we're 1,000 units and 2.5 million square feet.
1,000 units, commercial and multifamily. So commercial being what? Because there's also all kinds of commercial.
So commercial is only 2.5 million square feet. When we talk square feet, 1,000 units would be the multifamily side of things.
Okay,
We
very
kind
good.
of segment the two product types.
Yeah. So, but what does commercial? You're talking about retail? You're talking about
Good question.
office space?
Talking
What do you mean?
office, industrial, retail, anything other than multifamily apartments is what we consider commercial in our part of the market.
Okay, very good. Now, you mentioned that one of the big things, value add, that you bring to your clients is helping them with value add for their properties. So what does that typically look like? How are you helping your landlord clients make more money with their properties?
Yeah, I always tell a new client or prospective client, we want you as the client to be involved as much or as little as you want. Sometimes the client has a business plan in mind, especially if they're an experienced syndicator. They've done their underwriting. They've considered what they want their investors to receive in their preferred return, and they typically have a business plan for that property. But we do have some clients that come to us with an asset that could be in any sort of state. Sometimes they've inherited a piece of real estate that mom and dad left to them and maybe hadn't touched in 25 years. And rents are far below market, and there hasn't been a renovation in 25 or more years. So we'll build a plan for them, get their approval, and then we'll execute on that plan. Sometimes that includes going out to find capital or lending for that project. Other times the clients have the resources to do so, just need an expert to help implement that plan.
Yeah. So what's an example of one of your favorite turnarounds that you've helped a client with, let's say in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think one of the ongoing projects that I really get a lot of satisfaction from is a property in the Torrance area. It's technically on the border of a city called Torrance and the city called Rolling Hills or Palos Verdes. And I know you're in British Columbia, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with some of
I'm
the
fairly familiar with California. Most of our clients are American.
So
I've got a great client in Los Angeles. So
you may remember in the news in the last couple of years, there are an area of the LA area, the Palos Verdes Peninsula, that has a lot of ground movement, where there are homes that are sliding and disconnecting from utilities and gas lines that have been red tagged. And we manage about an 80-unit project, 80-unit apartment building in that same soil content, just on the edge of the Palos Verdes Peninsula. 4-tower apartment community with one shared amenity deck that connects the 4 towers. And as you can imagine, with that much movement, everything moves. So we started management in 2019. When we took over that project, we believe the pool itself on that lifted 3 stories up, elevated
Yeah.
deck, had been leaking for at least 15 years. Found exposed rebar in the garage that was completely rusted out. The concrete was spalling. There was movement in the
A
units.
disaster waiting to
Um,
happen.
you know,
Yeah.
in some ways, yes, and in other ways, there were a lot of little gems in that property. Really
Okay.
strong tenant base, strong demand in the area. Few
Well,
different
I think I was talking about structurally, that was a disaster waiting to happen.
structurally, yes,
Yeah.
structurally, yes. There were a lot of risks. A lot of engineers involved along the way, civil engineers, structural engineers, soil engineers, um, you name it, they were involved.
Hmm.
So
So what happened?
project's been turned around. Pool is finally done after many years of investigating where all the leaks were coming from. There were basically we we joke, probably shouldn't joke, that the property was basically a sieve before we started managing. We had water coming from the slope behind us. The building was built into the hillside, so there was water coming through the soil and into the garages. We had garages, all 3 garages needed to be completely demoed and redone. The pool needed to be
Wow.
redone. All of the units hadn't been rehabbed since the place was built in the 70s. When a tenant moved out since the mid 70s, the unit was received the landlord special and they just painted over everything and let a new
Yeah.
tenant move in. So completely redid all the units. And that
How many
asset,
units was it altogether again?
just under
80.
80 units, about 80
Yeah.
units.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What a
properties,
huge job. What a
yeah,
huge job.
it's been interesting. It's a project where when we're hiring new folks, it's usually a place we take new team members to go walk them
Just,
through. So you can visibly see just about every part of the industry at that building. So
yeah.
it's been a good project, and client's been very happy. Building is now stabilized, both structurally and financially, and it's a performing asset again.
Very cool. So was that a situation where the owner inherited that property? Okay, good. Because I'm going, ooh, if somebody bought that sucker and they weren't,
No, no,
they'd
they
have to
inherited
get it
that
for next to
property.
nothing.
Yeah, they inherited that property, and the family didn't. I don't think they understood. Not they didn't understand it. I don't think they were aware or made aware of some of the problems that the property was, dealing with.
Yeah,
And previous management kind of took the approach to paint over things and, take bags of quickcrete wherever there was exposed rebar and do things that got rid of the
kind
visual
of
problem, but obviously didn't eliminate the source of the
just
issue.
yeah, lipstick on the pig kind of thing. That's for sure. So you guys turned that around, and yeah, no, that's an exciting story. That's for sure. So Anthony, the company these days, where is your main focus? Like, what are you guys looking to grow with Coastline these days?
Yeah, we try to balance the portfolios as much as we can. So my goal is always try to keep a blend of multifamily and commercial,
Hmm.
both from a revenue standpoint for ourselves. Revenue comes in at different points of the year or in different cycles for residential than commercial, but also for our team. We really enjoy working with new property managers and training them and really building capacity within their own skill within our own company. And I find that property managers, especially if they're newer property managers, maybe haven't touched both product types. And we want to expose them to both and then determine, okay, where do you want to specialize? And let's teach you that part of the business.
Hmm.
So for multiple reasons, we like to keep it blended as much as possible. So
Yeah, no,
still focusing on growing that side of the business. My book has been published, so continuing to grow through the speaking engagements and the book sales and really attracting clients that really think the way we're looking for, really thinking about those property management principles that I talk about in the book.
so
And
what's the name of the book again?
the book is called Property Management Excellence.
Hmm.
And within the book, I share kind of our philosophy, my philosophy on property management, and tell that story through my own experience, growing up in low income Section 8 housing, living in just about every type of housing there could be as a kid, to starting my first property management business and then joining Coastline Equity as a partner in 2017. So kind of through that experience and that story, I share the 5 principles that we operate our business on called property management excellence. And those principles, part of them are really about finding clients that want to build not just a thriving portfolio that's financially successful, but really want to be a part of a community that instills and builds a quality of life for their tenants and all the stakeholders that they're interacting with, and really build a legacy. So really looking for clients that want to give back to their community, want to engage their community and have that crown jewel in the neighborhood of that real estate asset, and then really work towards building that legacy for themselves.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. So, Anthony, you're based in California. That's your area of focus for sure. We got listeners all across the states and into Canada. So one of the biggest complaints I hear from multifamily guys and gals is exactly that: property management, finding good third-party property managers to take care of their properties, especially if they're investing at a distance. I know people that have just gotten so frustrated with it, they've started their own property management companies to try and deal with all of that, which is that's a whole other business. So what advice do you have for folks outside of your area to find really good property management companies?
I think there's some usual dead giveaways that I advise clients, especially if they're looking for management outside of our area. We have many clients that will invest in multiple markets, and we try to stay hyper local as Southern California can be. It's hyper local to Southern California, and few giveaways that I generally tell clients or anybody that asks the question: are they trying to lock you into a long-term contract without an easy exit? Typically, a good property manager wants a relationship that is positive for both parties and isn't going to be locked into these 1-year contracts with auto renewals and these crazy termination fees. So looking for somebody that will allow you to exit with 30 days notice, and that they want the same for themselves, that if they're not happy with the relationship, they have a right to give you a 30-day notice. So some kind of easy exit. Also looking for junk fees. So if you start seeing that your property manager wants to charge you for inspections or coordination of work orders, or they want to start to bill you like your attorney bills you every time they pick up a phone call, those are usually dead giveaways that service isn't going to be real strong, in my opinion, because they don't want to talk to tenants if they want to bill them for every 6 minutes that they're on the phone with them.
Yeah.
So those are usually some big signs for me. And I know Google reviews are Google reviews, and everybody's going to have a few negatives, but if the majority of them are 1s and 2s, I think the general public, whether it's a client or a tenant, is going to tell you what they think about that operating.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Awesome, Anthony. So if people are listening or watching this, they'd like to connect with you, maybe you get a copy of that brand spanking new book that you got coming out, where should they go?
They should take a look at propertymanagementexcellence.com. It's the name of the book and the name of my site. And they can get more information not only about me and the book, but also Coastline Equity and all of the services that we offer.
Fantastic. All the best with the new book and all your endeavors. Thanks for being on the show, Anthony.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the time.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.